welcome to RCA Radio, a podcast where we cover the latest news and challenges in regulatory, compliance, and quality assurance facing the life science industries. I'm your host, Brandon Miller. In this episode of RCA Radio, we'll be talking about outsourced technical program management and leadership. Today, I'm joined by Eric Januszewski. Eric is a Senior Director of Client Relations here at RCA. Welcome, Eric.
Thanks for having me, Brandon.
Thank you for joining me. As I said before, we're going to jump into outsourced technical program management and the increased demand caused by the shortage of qualified subject matter experts. To kick things off, Eric, can you explain briefly what outsourced technical program management is and why it can be a great tool for companies to use?
Absolutely. Outsourced program management is really a broad term for having highly experienced subject matter experts provide direction and expertise to your existing internal client teams and projects. Now, this can be across regulatory or quality teams and projects, but it's really valuable to just about every one of our clients and applicable to just about every company that's feeling the pains coming out of the pandemic.
What types of projects do you see the industry using this type of support for?
It's pretty much applicable across any project. I think it's more company-centric. With the pandemic ending, a lot of our clients are feeling the after effects of the changes that were brought about with how they operate. So lots of our clients moved to technologies that allowed for seamless workflow using virtual work environments. Tools like Teams, Zoom, and other service providers that became really popular led to huge pushes in productivity. And that made a lot of our clients more agile and productive, but it also brought about a huge lack in the additional available talent. And I think pretty much every company is feeling that with headcount shortage. So when they started feeling the effects of being undermanned and having their current staff overstretched, what came out of that is a huge demand in outsourced technical program management.
So what types of companies are you seeing this affect mostly in the industry?
So the types of companies I see this the most with are biopharmaceutical companies right now, namely our large molecule and cell and gene therapy-based clients. And this is both well-established companies, but especially with startup companies right now. There's a lot of investment being made in that area, either drug therapy combinations or innovative molecules that they're working on commercializing through every phase of the clinical trial process.
So how can a company determine if outsourced technical program management's right for them?
Almost all of our clients are feeling constraints with bandwidth for a lot of their internal resources. I think just about everybody has been forced to wear an additional hat post-pandemic right now, and especially in our startup company clients. It's more important to identify where you can use this type of management, whether it's on an independent project or where I don't think there's the depth of expertise from a subject matter perspective, because it kind of corrals all the different efforts and gives them that primary driver, right? So if it's a senior quality or regulatory person, they're the ones that are going to be providing their internal teams with direction and also leading our subject matter experts. So it's kind of one of those things that I can apply across any project. If it's something that's very small and targeted, obviously it's a small and targeted effort that doesn't require technical program management. But if it's something that has multiple phases to it, or multiple moving parts and elements to it, doing an initiative that touches across regulatory, quality, engineering, et cetera, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's when I would recommend it. It's that top level band leader, that top level subject matter expert that performs activities as a heuristic learning exercise that both teaches their internal staff what needs to be done, provides that top level technical strategic direction, and also oversees the more tactical activities that are being conducted within the project.
Are there options to use these technical program managers to help train the current staff due to the shortage of qualified subject matter experts in the industry?
There's a huge shortage of qualified technical personnel to be able to either support these efforts from a strategic and also a tactical perspective, right? There's a huge shortage of people in quality and regulatory right now. And the only way that they see in being able to approach this prior to us offering the services we do, how we do, is hiring full-time staff. And the problem with that is, obviously, as I've mentioned, there's a huge shortage of them. So budgets won't allow for what's considered to be competitive for such a finite resource. and being able to provide a solution where we can give them an expert for the exact duration, meaning the exact amount of time that's necessary to be able to complete these activities, is what makes this so important and so valuable and popular with our client base. At the core of all the activities the technical program managers do with our client staff, the whole idea is to have a knowledge transfer take place that takes their really deep experience in industry or in the subject that they're supporting, whether that's quality or regulatory, and ultimately empowering whoever they work with to be able to do these things on their own. I know it seems self-defeating, but the ultimate goal is to not need us. So what we like to do is try and identify every opportunity that exists to be able to bring staff forward, move the needle, if you will, to have them be able to be more self-sufficient and more knowledgeable in the area that was previously lacking. So it's through the activity that knowledge transfer is taking place. It's not necessarily the goal is that knowledge transfer.
Are you able to share any success stories that you've had with clients using technical program management?
Yes, I have a client that's in the cell and gene therapy space that has multiple targets that are in phase 1 and 2 clinical trials. We brought on a technical program manager to be able to serve as a backboard for the tough to answer questions that their quality and regulatory teams had, and where they previously couldn't figure out how to get those solutions in-house because they couldn't afford to hire somebody full-time. I have another client that is in the biopharmaceutical space, and they're a well-established company, but they were trying to break into another market. And we had a technical program manager come in to help them understand what various efforts that they had on the board, meaning what their project plans dictated for all the different activities that needed to be done to commercialize this from both a manufacturing and a regulatory filing perspective. And this expert was able to come in and be available to them, not only to help assess these different efforts, but to also be able to suggest where that company was weak and might need some additional support. So we were able to tap into RCA's other subject matter experts to be able to have more tactical efforts and to be able to not only plan for those ahead of time, but also ensure that they were executed correctly and efficiently.
Yeah, to me, it sounds like outsourcing technical program management and utilizing these SMEs that are few and far between at this time in the industry is a great way for companies to help kickstart and identify gaps that they might not know they have. To wrap things up, do you have any final thoughts, any takeaways from technical outsourced program management?
Taking a look at technical program management, it's important to be able to understand where your company's strong and where you might have some weaknesses or areas that you know are pain points for you. Being able to understand when to reach out and what your options are about solving that problem in the most valuable way possible is kind of the key competitive differentiator for companies that are making big strides right now versus companies that are scratching their heads and trying to be left to the fates of finding resources or budgets to try and fill these holes.
That's a great way to end this. I want to thank you for taking the time to go over outsourced technical program management and the benefits companies can get out of this type of support. And I want to thank our listeners for tuning into this episode of RCA Radio. Be sure to subscribe to be the first to know when we upload the next episode of RCA Radio. Thanks again and have a great day.